If you felt completely overwhelmed by the astrology for the first 4 months of this year, you are not alone. It's no secret that things have been a little bit dicey with the planets at the start of 2026. Luckily, in May, things are about to change. Now, that doesn't mean that all of the craziness just completely shuts off and stops. We're still riding that wave. However, we have a lot of momentum. We have a little bit of a break from all of the astrological craziness that's been hitting us left and right over and over again. And we have space to actually deal with the ramifications of all of the changes, all of the challenges, all of the hurdles, all of the wildness that we have experienced throughout the first 4 months of this year. And we have momentum to actually move forward with our plans. We have an opportunity to actually do something with this energy. In this video, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know to navigate the astrology for May of 2026, including a forecast for all 12 signs. And before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so you never miss an important astrology update. I post a new forecast or tutorial every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, so you don't want to miss that. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, make sure you leave us a 5-star review and also leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Both of those things help us way more than you know. And for this particular forecast, I've decided to do things a little bit differently. I have a more casual setup for my recording. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you so you can see the charts. And we're just going to be going through the month ahead in a little bit more of a conversational style. Because for one, it's just easier for me to do for these forecasts that don't last very long. You know, they're only good for about a month. But also, it's a lot easier for me to give a really nuanced, really deep reading when I am looking at a chart. Things just flow really naturally when I have a chart in front of my face. And so I feel like I just do a way better job. And if you want to look at a chart and just have the energy flow through you, just know exactly what to say, how to derive meaning and accurate interpretations from the birth chart, I have a super exciting surprise for you. On Thursday, April 30th, I am hosting a free workshop for astrologers who maybe have dabbled and studied some bits and pieces, but still struggle to integrate what they've learned into something cohesive to make their own interpretations or even to give readings. And so you can find more information about that down in the description below. Again, 100% free. I'm super excited for this workshop. And if you really want to go deeper, I have an even more exciting announcement. We are starting our very first live cohort for the Cosmic Academy of Astrology for the first time in 4 years. And the reason that we're doing this is because over the last 5 years of working with students in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, I've really listened to what our students need, what helps them thrive, where they get stuck. And what I've found time and time again is that many of our students learn best when they're learning with a group, when they're learning with a community, and when they get extra live interaction and support from myself and from our expert astrology teaching assistants, because astrology is only 50% book learning. The rest is experiential. And when you get guidance from a teacher who really has been there, done that, and utilized all of the astrology in practice, you're going to get a form of wisdom that you can't find anywhere else. This is invaluable. And so in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, we always have live support. We always have monthly study group sessions where you practice and get feedback on your interpretations in real time. We always have twice monthly Q&A calls. But for this round, we're going to be going through level 1 live together. You're going to be getting a new module release every single week that you can go through at your own pace, but you're going to get additional study group sessions that are very focused, that you're going to get to practice exactly where you're at in real time. You're going to get bonus Q&A calls with me, and you're going to get the benefit of having a more structured schedule where things are being released week to week, where you're going to have more motivation from your fellow students to keep up, and you're going to be able to connect with your students to find a study buddy and practice with them if that's something that you want to do. If you don't, you can continue with the Academy self-paced. Either way, we're going to be offering a massive discount because this is our 5th anniversary of the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which is crazy for me. And so I wanted to do something special. You can join the waitlist to be notified when the live cohort opens for enrollment at the link in the description below. And if you happen to be watching this sometime between April 30th and May 8th, Enrollment is probably open, and so the link for that is down in the description below as well. I hope to see you in class. So as I was starting to say at the beginning of this video, this month is not super wild. It's not as turbulent as the months that have preceded it, and it's not as turbulent as some of the months that we're going to be experiencing later on in the year. We're getting a little break. This is the time to do the thing that you've been wanting to do. This is the time to launch into it. This is the time to start new things. We're still coming off of a ton of momentum at the very start of the month because all planets are direct, except we don't have the same diciness. We don't have the same frustration. We don't have to face the same hurdles and blockages that are preventing our growth and momentum like we did last month when we had that stellium in the sign of Aries where Mars was hitting Saturn. Mars is moving on. It's going to be moving into the sign of Taurus mid-month. It's no longer hitting that stellium, and there's a lot of energy behind Mars and Aries. This is a great time to initiate new projects, to jump into whatever it is that you want to create, whatever you're feeling enthusiastic and passionate about. You're going to have the energy and willpower to actually make it happen. The other thing that's going on that is a little bit more tense is that there's some Pluto action happening this month. And so on the very first day of this month, and we'll get into the charts in just a second here, we're going to have a powerful full moon in the sign of Scorpio. And this is going to be in a T-square with Pluto, which is slowing down to station on May 6th. Now, Pluto stationing does not kill our momentum in the same way that other planetary stations and other planetary retrogrades might. Pluto is already more internalized. And when Pluto stations and goes retrograde, it becomes more psychologically intense. It becomes more emotionally intense. It becomes more about our internal reality and our psychological well-being and less about drawing in our desires. It's more about getting in tune with what we actually truly need, want, and desire at a core level on the inside, as opposed to pushing something forward psychically or energetically or doing something outwardly. It's more about internal transformation versus external transformation. But because Pluto is already very interpersonal, transpersonal, it's very internalized, it's very non-physical because it is one of those invisible outer planets. This isn't a massive shift, and this isn't really going to take the steam away from our ability to do the things that we want to do this month, push something forward, begin new projects, initiate, because this really is a good month for initiation, especially at the start of the month when we still have some Aries energy going and we still have Mars pushing forward ahead. That said, at the end of this month, after Mars moves into Taurus, it's going to come into a square with Pluto. Mars-Pluto squares are always very intense, but they tend to bring a lot of forward momentum because it's this intense energy of really wanting to push something forward. It can also be an intense ending because Mars is the planet of separation. It's the planet of cutting things out. It's the planet of arguments, disputes, disagreements. It's the planet of, letting something go in traditional astrology because of that separating principle. And then we have Pluto, which in modern astrology is very much about being all in or being all out. It's about that death and rebirth cycle. It's about purging. It's about detoxing. It's about letting go of anything that is negative, that's holding us back, that is not aligned with our true needs, wants, and desires. And the need to do that is going to come up very quickly at the end of this month in a way that you probably might not see coming. You might have felt the tension building, but you're not going to be fully prepared for just the level of emotional and psychological intensity that this is going to bring. It's probably going to be a little bit of both needing to purge something, needing to surrender something, and needing to actively engage. It's not that the thing is just moving out of your life and you need to let go. With Mars in the mix, you are cutting ties, you are cutting cords, you are initiating the action that ends the thing that is toxic in your life. And this is an energy of potentially wanting to push something forward to manifest your truest and deepest desires, but you're doing so in a way that is a little bit challenging. It's going to be challenging to you, especially on an internal level. It's going to feel very difficult. It might feel a little traumatic. You might feel very fearful of what it is that you're pushing forward into and creating. However, whatever it is necessary, and it's probably something that you've been feeling or sensing at least a little bit on and off for the past year or so, because Pluto has been in and out of Aquarius, and This isn't the first time Pluto has been active, but this is a very big burst of energy that's going to cause us to take our internal desires and push something forward externally with our will. That is that Mars energy. Now, in between all of this, there's not a lot of craziness. The biggest events of this month are actually the full and the new moons. So we start the month with a full moon in the sign of Scorpio. Mid-month, we're going to be moving into a new moon in the sign of Taurus, giving us a fresh start and a new beginning on a more material, physical, tangible level. And then we'll be moving into a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius, where things get adventurous and also a little weird, because this is going to be opposing Uranus, which is fully into the sign of Gemini as of last month. And so before we get into what this means for all 12 signs, I wanted to explore the charts and go a little bit deeper. And so the full moon in the sign of Scorpio is the first powerful energy of the month ahead, and it happens right out the gate on May 1st. Scorpio is the sign of the moon's fall, and full moons in Scorpio can be especially emotionally and psychologically volatile and intense. And this is already the case without a T-square to Pluto involved. Now, the square to Pluto that you see on your screen is not super tight. There is a 6-degree orb, so it's not like the most intense it could possibly be, but it's still intense, especially because Pluto is stationing, as I mentioned before, to go retrograde. That means that it's very slow. It's not even moving in the sky, and it's much closer to the Earth. It's much stronger in its influence. And so Plutonian themes of psychological intensity, desire, death, rebirth, surrender, purging, that black or white extreme energy where you're either all in or you're not, that is coming to the forefront of our consciousness and being illuminated by this full moon in Scorpio. And in modern astrology, Scorpio is connected to Pluto. And so there is an affinity there and they can work well together, but this is really going to be illuminating something that we need to, again, either purge or get more aligned with. It's kind of like a trigger point of some sort of emotional upset or some sort of volatility that triggers us emotionally, or an intense psychic hit or some really intense intuition that comes through that we need to make use of, that we need to do something with, that is helping us to realize that something in our lives is not quite aligned with what we truly need, want, and desire moving forward. And that is that Pluto energy. At its core, Pluto is all about getting in touch with our core desires. It's not about, oh, I desire $1 million. It's more about the why and what you actually like. Does your soul actually want $1 million, or does your soul want the freedom that that provides? Does your soul crave the power? Does your soul crave just a sort of a sense of security and safety that's provided by that money, right? So what is it that you actually want? That is what Pluto is going to help you draw in. And it's also going to illuminate things that might be toxic in your life and in your situation that later in the month, you're probably going to be fully cutting cords with around May 25th, when we have that exact square between Mars and Pluto. And so this is kind of a fleeting moment, right? We have this full moon. It'll be really activated for a couple days before and after. But outside of that, there's just that momentum. Like we have Mars still in Aries. We have Mercury starting to move out of Aries and into Taurus. We have all the other planets are moving direct, and even Pluto's technically still direct at this time. So this is the time to really get something moving and get something going. And so something else that's worth mentioning is that on May 14th, just 2 days prior to the new moon in the sign of Taurus, we have Mercury coming into an exact conjunction with the sun, a superior conjunction. It is Cazimi. And so this is a time where powerful, potent messages can come through and lead us in a new direction. This is where communications that are extra important light us up and lead us somewhere. This is where we have an intense realization about something that comes to us in a dream or in our waking life and in our waking reality. The realizations that we're having are very tangible, very practical things that we can put into action right away. It could be that there's a message that comes through and then all of a sudden we have these new plans or we have to set something in motion. This is a really potent time if you're feeling stuck on something, especially if you're feeling stuck in a rut and you can't figure out a new way to do something, because that is very Taurus, kind of being set in your comfort zones and set in your ways. You're going to get a message about how you can create what you want to create, but still stick within those comfort zones. And so that is something that's happening this month as well. Then on May 16th, we have a powerful new moon in the sign of Taurus. This is a great time to set intentions for anything tangible, anything physical, anything material, anything in the here and now that you want to create, that you want to manifest, that you want to move forward with in the next 30 days or the next 6 months, because this is really going to fully come to culmination the next time we have a full moon in the sign of Taurus. And so set your intentions around this time for something real, something practical, something that's going to enhance your stability and your foundations and your comfort zones, because those are all very Taurus things. And this is also in a conjunction with Mercury. And so this is about taking your time and thinking about things more simply. So simplify your plans, simplify your intentions. What is the lowest common denominator? What is the thing that you truly want in its simplest form and its simplest explanation? This is going to help you to align with that and to really get focused on the core of what actually matters here. Then on May 25th, as promised, we will have Mars squaring Pluto. This is happening in the fixed signs. This is a crisis of wanting to hold on to something and keep it the way that it is. This is not wanting to change, but being forced to change. This is not wanting to let go, but realizing that holding on is creating toxicity in your life energetically, maybe physically. It could be a health thing for some people. It's time to let go. It's time to move forward. And I feel like a lot of people under this energy are going to be clinging to the status quo for dear life, especially on that physical level, not wanting to change something physically, maybe not wanting to let go or relinquish of some resources, maybe not wanting to change their mentality or their ideals about something, being very dogmatic or rigid about something, but they're going to be forced to face the music. They're going to be forced to face facts that this is no longer working. And this is no longer aligned with what you truly need, want, and desire. And so that's what's going on with this Pluto square to Mars. And finally, we close out the month with an activation of Uranus. Uranus came into a conjunction with the sun on May 22nd. And so that's going to be a time where that Uranus energy is being highlighted in some way. They need to change. They need to do something in a different way. This eccentricity that needs to be released, this rebelliousness that needs to be released in your life, especially when it comes to your mindset, especially when it comes to your communication, what you share with other people. But this is going to be kind of like highlighting the opposition to that. With Uranus in Gemini being highlighted at the start of the month, it's going to feel like mental chaos. Like we're going to feel very scattered, very all over the place. There's going to be potential for higher anxiety, feeling like we don't really know what's what. We're going to have a flight of ideas, a lot of new inspiration, a lot of new innovation coming through in our personal lives and maybe also in the collective. But it's all very piecemeal. And so having this full moon in the sign of Sagittarius sort of pulls us out of the weeds. It helps us to see the bigger picture. It helps us to see how this all comes together and what this is all truly about. It gives us that bird's eye view. And this is also the culmination of something that we have been working toward in a certain area of our lives, which we'll talk about in the forecast for all 12 signs, which is what we're going to get into right now. Before we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, make sure you download your free Astrology 101 quick reference guide at the link down in the description below. This is your guide to understanding all of your planetary placements and knowing where the heck everything is so you can get even more value out of this all signs forecast and all the forecasts and tutorials that I provide for you over on YouTube. This guide will help you understand signs, planets, houses, aspects, and how to locate them in your chart and how to start interpreting them for yourself. This is also a great thing to download before you join us for our free workshop next Thursday or the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which I hope to see you in class for when enrollment opens on April 30th. All right, so let's get into it. For Aries and for Aries rising, you've been working on getting in touch with what you truly need, want, and desire when it comes to your social circle, when it comes to your friends, when it comes to your allies, when it comes to your need for social support. And the full moon in the sign of Scorpio on May 1st is going to highlight that. It's also going to highlight some sort of potential issue or intensity around finances. This is where your fears are going to come to light. This is where maybe you've been holding on too tightly when it comes to your financial situation, or where there's something that you haven't dealt with that you're going to need to deal with. It's going to be more of an emotional upset than a actual physical upset on a lot of levels, if that is the case. This could also just be the culmination of something that you've been working toward that creates a payout. And so for some of you, you might be getting a tax refund or an insurance payout or some sort of money that was lent out comes back to you, or maybe your partner's resources are highlighted or increased, or maybe there's some sort of challenge there that you need to deal with together and figure out exactly what you want to do moving forward. And this is all in preparation for the new moon in the sign of Taurus on the 16th of May, where you are going to be setting intentions, very clear intentions for your plans moving forward financially. This is about simplifying your finances. This is about simplifying your expenses. This is about simplifying your budget and getting your ducks in a row. This is also about setting intentions when it comes to your money, but also when it comes to your property, the things that you own, the things that you invest in. This is about figuring out what you want and what you want your life to look like on a material level, and then setting things in motion to create that reality. But in order to do that, you're going to have to face your fears and you're going to have to cut some things out. This is about detoxing yourself on a material and financial level. What do you truly need in your life? What can you purge and let go of? How can you energetically make space for new resources and new things to come into your life on that material level? That's the question that you should be asking yourself as we come into the Mars-Pluto square that happens on the 25th. This is about cutting something out, and it's going to come up very quickly, and it's going to become very apparent that there is something that you need to take action on or sever or change. Finally, at the end of the month, near the 31st of May, there is opportunity to step away from all of this and switch gears. Money is no longer at the forefront of your mind. It's more about opportunity. It's more about travel. It's more about beliefs. It's more about education. Maybe you're expanding your mind through a new higher educational pursuit. Maybe you're learning astrology in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, and that's taking you out of the day-to-day grind. There's definitely a change in mindset coming up for you. Your ideas about the world, your day-to-day conversations that you sort of have with yourself in your brain, your day-to-day mindset and self-talk, those are all shifting. And this is part of a bigger thing. This is part of a bigger shift in your overall belief systems, and that's going to be highlighted at this time. This could bring opportunity for travel. This could be the culmination of travel plans that you've been working toward or looking forward to for quite some time, or this could be you sharing your knowledge. It's the culmination of your wild ideas and maybe sharing those with the world around you. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, for quite some time now, you've been really getting in touch with what you truly need, want, and desire when it comes to your career in a very intense way. You've been working on purging and letting go of anything that doesn't align, anything that doesn't serve you, and drawing in what truly does serve you and what you want things to look like moving forward. This could involve intense communications or conversations with superiors, people in power and authority, and some deep soul searching about the mark you want to make on the world and what that looks like for you more personally. This full moon is going to highlight this, but it's also going to highlight how you're maybe holding yourself back, or other people who you're close to are holding you back from achieving and accomplishing what you desire, or from letting go of the things that are no longer aligned, that you can no longer tolerate because it's not part of your core nature. It's not part of what you came here to do. It's not what you're passionate about anymore. And so there's a difficult conversation that you might need to have with somebody about those themes. This also could just be highlighting the culmination of something that is really important that's going on involving one-to-one relationships. There could be a new partnership that comes in, and it's very intense and it's very emotionally volatile and very psychologically intense, but it does not necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I feel obsessed with this person and this connection is so intense, I don't really know what to do with it. It could also be that there's too much intensity in your current relationship and you need to kind of address that or take a step back. Or it could be just that, again, there's a culmination of something that you've been building toward together as a unit that's finally coming to fruition. It could even be something involving like a business opportunity or a career opportunity. It could be a one-to-one partnership, like a business partnership that's that's really culminating at this time. And the new moon this month on the 16th for you, Taurus, is all about a fresh start across all areas of life because this is your new moon in your sign. So this is a cosmic reset where you're going to shift the way that you're dealing with things mentally and physically. This is about drawing in whatever you want, need, and desire. This is about creating the right affirmations. This is about creating the right mindset. This is about speaking things into reality and sharing and communicating your needs and desires, what you want to manifest, what you want to create, your intentions with the world around you. This is really the time for you to set intentions, especially for anything that involves you personally, personal recognition that you want to obtain, or anything that involves your physical appearance or physical body. So if you are wanting to really align your health, if you're really wanting to amplify your health in some way, this is the new moon to get that in motion. And this is not without hurdles. But it is a month where, especially if you do want to lock in your fitness, you're going to really be able to get yourself moving very literally because Mars is in your sign. And so your willpower is going to be amplified and you're going to be very stubborn in your pursuit of any of your goals, both physically, but also when it comes to your career. Finally, at the end of this month, money is on your mind and money could be coming in, especially through an outside source. So if you've made investments in the past, you could be cashing in on that. Your partner could be bringing in more resources all of a sudden. You could have an insurance payout, some inheritance that comes in, a debt that gets cleared up and that you finally pay off. There's some sort of momentum and positivity around your resources near the time of the full moon in the sign of Sagittarius on May 31st. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, this full moon in the sign of Scorpio on May 1st is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. This is where your health is at the forefront of your consciousness. It's also where your day-to-day reality becomes busier and more intense, and emotionally and psychologically, maybe you feel like you can't handle it and you really need a break. You really need to change your beliefs or mindset about something so that way you can have more room for opportunity and optimism. Maybe this is about you really wanting to draw in something where you're able to go on some sort of important trip, some sort of soul-searching mission, some sort of higher educational pursuit, but your work on a day-to-day basis or your health or something that you are obligated to do in service of someone else is preventing you from doing that. This is going to highlight the need to shift things. This is going to highlight the need to start addressing this and realizing that this can't continue on in the exact way that it has been this entire time. And later on this month, that's when it's going to really become more filled with friction. There's definitely an energy here where later on the month, it's going to be apparent that somebody is working against you or acting against you, or there's something that's going on in secret or behind the scenes that comes to light that you realize has been really toxic and that you need to let go of. And this is going to be impacting you both physically and psychologically. And this is also you needing to align yourself and align what you're doing on a day-to-day basis with your beliefs, with your deeply held value systems. And that's going to be a big part of this energy throughout the month as well. As we come into the new moon in the sign of Taurus on May 16th, this is a time to take a step back. This is not a very active energy. I mean, new moons aren't. They're dark. There's not a lot of energy behind them. And we tend to feel a little bit more internalized anyway. But for you, this is happening in the 12th house, which is the house of solitude, seclusion, secrets. It's the house of the unconscious. This is the time for you to meditate, contemplate. Don't get caught up in the busyness of day-to-day reality. This is the time to take a break, take a little vacation even, take a little staycation where you're just kind of sitting in your own energy and letting yourself rest, letting your body and your mind rest. And this is to set intentions also on that level for just resting and spending more time in your own space. Later on in the month, at the end of the month, we're going to be having the full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. This is where relationships are highlighted. And so there's been a lot of busyness. There's been a lot on your mind. Now's a time to focus a little bit less on you and your wants, your needs, your desire, even though you are in the forefront. It's kind of like your energy is everywhere. You are feeling like electricity is running through your body. You might be feeling more anxious. You might be feeling more amped up. You might have a lot of ideas that you want to explore. But now's the time to focus a little bit more on the needs, wants, and desires of other people and the people you care about in your life. There could be a culmination or something coming to fruition involving your marriage partner or somebody that you're very close to, and it's time for you to celebrate them. And so that's what's going on for Gemini. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, we are kicking off the month with a full moon in the sign of Scorpio, and this is happening in your house of joy, your house of romance, your house of hobbies, interests, entertainment, things that you do because you love to do them. And so this is your call to action. This is your call to do things that bring you joy. There's something preventing you from doing that, though. There's lingering fears. There's financial issues. There's power struggles. There's some sort of trauma from the past, even, that's holding power and control over you, that is not allowing you the freedom to experience pleasure, to experience joy, to do things that you want to do just because they feel good and because you want to do them, to explore your passions in some way. And so this is going to highlight the need to purge, let go, detox, remove those barriers and blockages to heal through those deep psychological issues that are preventing you from fully embracing the things that light you up. This full moon in the sign of Scorpio could also bring emotional upset, volatility, power and control issues involving children. And so if that's applicable to you, just know that it's a fleeting thing. It's just a few days before, a few days after that it's being highlighted, but there could be something that comes up that is emotionally triggering, not the most dire thing. It's more like some sort of power struggle or some sort of lasting issue that you haven't dealt with and that needs to be dealt with now. Then mid-month, we switch gears, and around May 16th, we have a new moon in your 11th house, which is the house of friends, social networks, group associations, people that you surround yourself with by choice, the people that support you, light you up, and that serve as allies, that serve as your support system, that serve as your tribe. This is a time to set intentions for drawing in the right people in the right ways. Don't overthink your connections. Simplify, right? It could be about maybe not going out and doing all the things with all the people and finding your core group, the people that are really solid, that are really there for you. It could be drawing in new connections that feel just like that. This is the time to set connections to find those helpful people, to draw in the right people that can support you in accomplishing your goals. That is what this new moon is for. But accomplishing those intentions will not be without a little bit of struggle, a little bit of tension, because Mars is moving into the sign of Taurus. That could indicate conflict, especially power and control issues and power struggles, or issues involving resources and other people's resources that are connected to your friendships. If someone owes you money, that's going to come up. Don't lend someone money if they ask you at this time. That's going to cause problems. You don't want to add more into the mix here. But toward the end of the month, when we have this Pluto square to Mars on the 25th, there's definitely the need to cut ties or cut cords or sever a connection that is toxic with someone. And that's going to come up through conflict. And so it'll be apparent what that means for you and what you need to do moving forward. Then at the end of the month, we're switching gears and you're going to be focusing a lot more on your work. You're going to be focusing a lot more on your health. You're going to be focusing a lot more on the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that make up the bigger picture of your career and of your reality. And so it's going to be more about dealing with the here and now and dealing with the daily grind. This is also highlighting the culmination of something that you've been working toward, maybe involving getting a new pet, or maybe involving working on your health, or maybe involving, doing something like a big work-related project, or making the right connections, or hiring someone. All of these things could come to fruition at the very end of this month. For Leo and for Leo rising, you've been working on really aligning with what you truly desire and figuring out at a core level what you truly desire when it comes to romantic connections. This is about finding someone who you can trust. This is about cultivating deep loyalty in existing relationships. This is about purging connections with people, obligations, contracts, agreements that are toxic, that no longer serve you. And this is coming up actually with this full moon on the first of the month, because it's highlighting that Pluto in the seventh house energy. And this is about emotional volatility and toxicity in the home, in your family relationships, in your close family connections, in your connections with your parents. This is also about working on and working through early childhood trauma that is still impacting you emotionally and psychologically in this moment. There could be something coming to a culmination involving your property, your home, a living situation, or a situation with your parents and family that feels emotionally or psychologically intense. It's going to be more internal than external. It's not going to be necessarily that something physically is manifesting that's terrible. It's more that emotionally it feels a little volatile, but it is something that's being highlighted for a reason because you're going to have to actually address it and deal with it and transform it moving forward. Middle of the month, around the 16th of May, you're switching gears and you're focusing more on your career, your public reputation, the mark that you make and leave on the world at large, the impact you make on the world. What does that look like? What do you want that to look like? What are your biggest dreams, goals, and ambitions, not just for your career, but for the legacy that you'll leave behind, for how you'll be remembered by the world at large? What impact do you want to make physically, tangibly on the world? That's really what this question is at the time of the new moon. And this is a time for you to set intentions to that end. And for Leo, accomplishing that goal is not going to be without challenge, without hardship, because there is some friction coming in through a one-to-one connection involving your work and your career. This is the time to cut ties, to let go of something toxic, or where you might have to address some sort of conflict or issue that just coming your way from a boss, a superior, or the need to just address some sort of issue that's coming your way. There's definitely the potential for conflict involving your work, involving your career, involving your connection with bosses and superiors, involving your connection with business partners. That's coming up around the 25th of May. And it's not just on the 25th, a few days before, a few days after, as always. And then at the end of this month, near the 31st, you're going to be switching gears and focusing way less on relationship issues, way less on career goals and plans, way less on your family, your roots, your living situation, and more on just letting go, releasing, and experiencing joy. The full moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 5th house. This could be a beautiful time to travel with your children if you have any. This could be a beautiful time to do something that feels more like play, more like fun. This is the time to incorporate things that you're passionate about, things that you find fun, things that you find exciting. This is the house of entertainment and joy. This is the house of romance and passion. If that's something that you need in your life, you can bring that into the mix as well. This full moon is highlighting the need to take care of you and to do the things that light up your soul. For Virgo and for Virgo rising, you've been working really hard on figuring out what you truly need, want, and desire when it comes to your day-to-day life, your day-to-day habits, what you need to do in order to transform your health, especially when it comes to the psychological and emotional components that impact your physical body. Now's a time where that's going to be highlighted a lot more so. This is also a time where important conversations and communications can come in, especially when it comes to your immediate environment, your neighbors, your community, your siblings, your extended family members. This is where phone calls can come in that can be a little bit emotionally turbulent or a little bit emotionally intense. This is where you're going to be feeling all the feels when it comes to the messages that you're receiving and the information that's coming through. It could be through the media, it could be through actual connections with people. Either way, it's kind of like the news is coming in and it's making you feel emotionally triggered, and you have to figure out why, and you have to figure out what to do with that. And you have to figure out how these types of situations are impacting your health directly or indirectly. And that's a big part of this too. Later on in the month, on the 16th, you're going to be setting intentions for higher educational pursuits. Maybe you're joining us in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which classes start just a few days before the new moon in the sign of Taurus. Maybe it's that you want to share your wisdom and your experience with other people through teaching. Maybe it's that you want to go on a big trip, a big vacation. Maybe it's that you want to do some deeper spiritual exploration. Whatever it is, this is the time to set intentions for all of those things. But it's not going to be without hurdles and hardship. And so, for example, if you decide that you want to go on a cruise later on in the month, on the 25th, there could be something that comes up very abruptly that you have to deal with. There could be a conflict, especially a conflict involving your work or your employees or somebody not covering for you or you not getting PTO that you're going to have to deal with directly and head on. You're going to have to overcome this conflict in order to create what you want to create. And this is really showing you how what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, especially with your work, is not aligned with your needs, wants, and desires and your overall bigger picture belief systems and what you actually want to accomplish and explore. The month of May culminates with a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. This is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. If you're traveling and having maybe some diciness around travel earlier in the month, later in the month, you're going to be shifting your focus more on your home, your roots, your family. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of change that is going on in your 10th house of career and the mark you want to make on the world. You have a lot of ideas, a lot of new things, a lot of new areas of exploration. But this time around the full moon on May 31st is more about bringing it back down to earth and focusing on what you want behind the scenes, behind closed doors, after work, what you want your family life and your home life to look at. This could also be the culmination of something that you've been building toward or working toward involving your home or living situation that could finally come to fruition. For Libra and Libra rising, you've been working on really getting in touch with your passions, with the things that light you up, with your truest and deepest desires when it comes to the things that bring you joy. And this is a time where that's going to be highlighted, but your financial ability to actually connect with those desires, to connect with the things that you want to move forward with your passions, that's going to be highlighted at the start of the month, especially around May 1st, because there is a full moon in the sign of Scorpio, bringing emotional volatility, and that's in a T-square with Pluto in your 5th house of joy. This could also be something involving your children. There's a change that needs to be made or something that needs to shift involving children or your children, and that could be coming up, and it's kind of like, is the money there? It's really highlighting your resources, your savings, the way that you've been spending your money, your possessions, and what that looks like in its ability to contribute to what your children desire or what you desire for your children. That could be a big part of this as well. This is a time to set intentions, especially around May 16th, for bringing in new resources, investing your money, making sure that your joint finances in your partnership are aligned, making sure that you are setting intentions to overcome and clear out and heal through anything that is controlling you in the present moment that is no longer relevant in the present moment because it's connected to trauma from the past. And this is really a very internalized new moon energy for Libras. And so this isn't the time to be out and about and doing crazy things. It's more a time for soul searching and for depth. Whatever intentions you set, especially financially, might get a little disrupted. And so there could be the need to cut ties, to sell something, to let go of a past debt, to settle a debt. There could be a dispute involving money or resources that comes up. It's okay. It's going to be cleared away. It's something that needed to come up, so that way you could address it and deal with it and open things up, not just financially, but for you to be able to, again, align with your passions, do those things that bring you joy that you've been holding back from because potentially there's no financial reasoning behind it, or maybe the money just isn't there. You're going to be able to bring in that cash flow after you deal with the conflict that arises. Then finally, at the end of the month, you're switching gears. You might be traveling, you might be making plans, you might be purchasing a new vehicle, you might be learning something new, you might be teaching something new. This is a really exciting time for connecting with new ideas, for connecting with community, for sharing your ideas with the world at large. This could be the culmination of something you've been planning for, especially involving like a road trip or some sort of short distance travel. All of that is possible at the end of the month for Libra. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, the start of this month is going to be a lot of energy for you, Scorpio. You are being highlighted. It is your time to shine. You might be getting recognition for something that you've accomplished. All eyes are on you because the full moon is on you. Unfortunately, the full moon's in its fall, but that doesn't mean it's all bad. It just means that there is going to be some emotional volatility. You're going to be feeling like things are impacting you more psychologically and emotionally than they normally do. You're going to be more emotionally sensitive. And even though you normally keep things to yourself and you're not necessarily wanting to let it out and share your feelings, especially if they're more volatile at this time, it's going to be very hard to keep your feelings under wraps. You're going to be wearing your emotions on your sleeve. Your face is going to be very readable when it normally isn't. And so this is a time where it's in your best interest to just go ahead and share how you feel. And so that might be something that you're already going to be more prone to do when you're normally not Scorpio. Also, there's something that you've been really trying to draw in or manifest or align yourself with. You've been really getting in touch with what you truly need, want, and desire behind the scenes in your family life, in your home life. This is about getting in touch with your ancestry even. And there's something here that is triggering. So it's kind of like the energy of this full moon is highlighting the need to address something involving your living situation or involving your relationship with your parents or your family that comes up around this time. And then as we come into the new moon, this is going to be more about shifting your focus from you to your relationships. And so if you're not in relationship, this could be a really beautiful time around May 16th to set intentions to draw in that right partnership, that perfect balance for you, for your life, that perfect connection that you've been desiring. This is also a really beautiful time to set intentions or have a big reset in your current partnerships where you can align yourself more fully with deeper loyalty, deeper stability, physical pleasure. This is definitely a time to work on accomplishing material goals together as a couple. So setting intentions together as a couple for those types of things. However, whatever it is that you are working to align yourself with involving relationships in the middle of this month, it's going to be tested, especially around the 25th, because there is conflict arising. There's conflict coming up. And that conflict involves one-to-one connections, your marriage partnership, all close personal relationships could be subject to this volatility where you really have to look at what is working and what is toxic and what you need to cut out of your life or your situation in order to accomplish your goals. There could also be the need to sever a contract or cut ties involving a living situation or a property or involving a family relationship that could come up around this time. Once that's dealt with, we're going to be shifting gears and money is coming in for you, Scorpio. Oh my goodness. At the end of this month, you have a full moon, bright and beautiful, in your second house of finances. This is the culmination of something that you've been working toward financially. It could be hitting a big savings goal. It could be cashing in on an investment. It could be finally making a major purchase that you've been really wishing for and really desiring to make. All of that is possible during this time. And also, more money could just be coming in. It could simply be that, or you're focusing more on your financial situation for one reason or another. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, there's been an extra layer of intensity, especially on a deep psychological level when it comes to your connection with your community, when it comes to your neighbors and neighborhood. You've been forging deeper trust and deeper connections, but also severing connections and pushing things away that no longer serve you in that area. This could also be a deepening or a shifting or a changing of your relationship with siblings and extended family members. It's also you feeling like you want to go deeper on a day-to-day basis when it comes to conversations, communications. Your mindset is changing. You're a little bit cynical. You're a little bit more dark. You're focusing a little bit more on the things that are deeper and maybe a little bit more taboo. And so it's a time where small talk is not appealing to you and you really want to have those deeper conversations. And it's a time where you're transforming all of your relationships to include more depth and more loyalty. This full moon, though, is highlighting something that's been going on in secret, behind the scenes, behind closed doors. It's either something that you've been wishing for or doing in secret or a secret that's being revealed to you. And it could be some sort of gossip. It could be something that comes through communication or conversation. It could be a secret about a neighbor or somebody in your community that comes up and it causes some sort of emotional volatility or shifts things. Definitely you're going to be getting some really intense messages in your dreams, Sagittarius, especially at the start of this month. And so pay attention to that because that's telling you something. And internally, you're going to be feeling more volatile around the 1st of May, where you might be just emotionally having more intensity, but having trouble pinpointing where that's coming from or having trouble expressing or sharing those feelings where it's being internalized and it kind of turns into something a little toxic and you're going to have to actually communicate it in some way. Later on in the month, we're shifting gears. And so while at the start of the month, it's really good to pull away from your day-to-day reality and spend some time in contemplation and seclusion, the second half of the month, you're going to be setting some really solid intentions for what you want your day-to-day life to look like with your work, for hiring new employees or hiring help if that's applicable to you. You're going to be setting intentions for your health and your health goals, and you're going to be able to actually meet those goals way more easily as a result of having the right plans and the right mindset in place, the right staying power to actually do it and see it through this time, especially involving food, because that is a very Taurus thing, and movement. This is also a time to set intentions for anything involving pets or animals that you want to accomplish or change. And then it's going to be tested though. So your resolve when it comes to accomplishing your fitness goals, when it comes to accomplishing your work goals, when it comes to whatever it is that you're trying to manifest there is going to be tested around the 25th because Mars is coming into the mix. And so it could be that you hire someone or that you set intentions to hire someone and it goes awry. It could be that you have an employee that quits on you. It could be that you've hired help and they're no longer there for you. It could be that a health issue comes up and you have to deal with it, not just physically, but also the psychological origins and the mindset issues that could be contributing to whatever's going on in your physical body. Whatever that is, that hurdle is something that you need to overcome in order to be more aligned with your desires in the future. Finally, at the end of the month, you are the one who's shining. And so all eyes are on you. You are being highlighted because the full moon in the sign of Sagittarius is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is your sign. So that means you are illuminated. You are being recognized for something. You are feeling more energized. You are feeling more on top of things. There's a big goal of yours that you're finally realizing and manifesting and achieving. You've been focusing earlier for the past couple of weeks, especially a lot on changes that are going on in your relationship or with your partner or in partnership with other people. There's a lot of busyness going on in those one-to-one connections, but at the very end of the month on the 31st, all eyes are on you and your focus is on you. It's okay to be selfish because that is the time where that's what you actually need to be focusing on in order to have better energy in your relationships to navigate those changes. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this full moon in the sign of Scorpio is happening in your 11th house, which is the house of friends, social networks, and group associations that you surround yourself with by choice. And so your friendships are going to be highlighted, but there's also some intensity or volatility emotionally that's coming through your friendships. It could be that you have a friend that's fallen on hard times, especially if it's a financial situation, and you're helping to console them. You're helping to kind of see them through. You're helping to deal with some sort of emotional upset that's going on in your social circle in some way. It could also just be that this is a time where you feel more social and you want to go out there and you want to be with people, but there are some odd or really intense situations or conversations that are coming up, like people are kind of unleashing their emotions on you, like you're the emotional dumping ground around that time. That could be a big part of it too. Or it could just be a time where you're out there and you're doing more things, and maybe it's not the most volatile time. Maybe you're the one that's sharing your emotions and you're getting emotional support from your social circle, from your tribe, from your allies, from that support group that you have. And this could be a really great time to seek out support from a group if that's something that is applicable to you and you're having difficulties around this time. The new moon that's happening mid-month on the 16th is happening in your 5th house. And so this is actually a beautiful energy, Capricorn, especially if you're an N degree Capricorn, anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees. This is the time to set intentions to align yourself with things that you love, that you desire, that bring you joy, to bring more romance, more play, more fun, more entertainment into your life. This is also a really beautiful time to set intentions for anything involving children. If you're wanting to have children or wanting to have another child, this is a time to set things in motion for that. If you want to create a better situation for your children, if you have a goal that involves your children, this is the time to set that in motion as well. Those goals are going to be tested though, and your ability to just kick back and enjoy yourself is going to be tested a little bit because Mars is moving into the sign of Taurus in your 5th house, squaring Pluto and Aquarius. It's kind of like you want to set things in motion. You want to jump right into doing the thing that you love to do, that you're passionate about. But there's something going on financially. There's something going on in terms of especially fears, anxieties, psychological issues that are preventing you from moving forward. And those psychological issues are tied to your money mindset, which needs to be transformed. You need to let go and purge of anything toxic that's holding you back from accomplishing your financial goals, but also utilizing your resources in a way that feels good to you and that allows you to have some fun. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. There's been a lot going on for you, Aquarius. You're going through a deep period of inner transformation that could also be reflecting your external reality, where everything is subject to change, because right now, if it's not truly aligned with your deepest and truest desires, it has to go. You can no longer stand it. And that's coming up at the time of this full moon. If your living situation is not aligned with your deepest and truest desires and what you came here to do, what you are truly meant to do, you're going to have trouble tolerating it this month. And if your career path is not aligned with your truest and deepest desires and the things that you really came here to do, especially at the start of this month, around May 1st, that's going to be highlighted, and you're going to have to figure out how to shift and change things and transform it so it is aligned. And it could even be needing to cut ties with something, or needing to kind of bring this to its full circle moment where, okay, I've been there, done that. What comes next for me in my career path? It could also be that you've been really working hard and very focused and obsessed with something, and you're finally getting that public recognition or recognition through your career, or you've accomplished a really big career goal, and that comes up for you around May 1st. Later on in the month, on the 16th, you're switching gears and focusing a lot more on your roots, your family, your parents. It could be that there's a situation that you want to set intentions for involving your family dynamic, where you want to change something or start something new. It could also be, for a lot of you, setting intentions for a new situation or a better situation when it comes to your place of living, your home, a property that you own. Whatever it is, this is the time to get your plans in order and your ducks in a row. It's probably going to be something very material and tangible. So maybe even setting intentions for remodeling, or, planting a beautiful garden. That's very Taurus fourth house energy for you. Or it could be just having a more stable home life. Whatever it is that you desire, this is the time to set intentions, because it will grow to fruition, not just this month, but for the next 6 months of your life. But it's not going to go untested. There's going to be some sort of conflict, some sort of need to separate yourself from something, some sort of need to address something head on that comes up really abruptly, that tests you on a psychological level, that is triggering to you on a psychological level around May 25th. But once you've dealt with that family issue, once you've dealt with that structural issue, once you've dealt with that home issue, things will be a lot better moving forward. Finally, at the end of the month, there is a full moon happening in Sagittarius. This really shifts gears for you. You're focusing more on all these different things that are exciting to you and that you're passionate about, and you're focusing on bringing that into your connections with your friendships, and that you're focusing a lot more on socializing. May 31st and, a few days before and after, great time to have a party, great time to socialize, great time to connect with new people, to find new allies, to be with your support system, to be with your tribe. Really beautiful things can manifest through those connections. And then finally, for Pisces and for Pisces rising, this full moon in the sign of Scorpio is happening in your 9th house. There could be travel coming up for you. It could also be the culmination of something that you've been really wanting to do when it comes to your education, higher educational pursuits. The Cosmic Academy of Astrology's live cohort will be open for enrollment at that time. And I know some of you at least will be attending and enrolling. And so that could be it. It's kind of like, I've been wanting to learn this. I've been wanting to expand my horizons. I've been studying this piecemeal, and now all of a sudden I am wanting to take this to the next level, and the opportunity is being illuminated. It could also be that you're sharing your wisdom with the world in some way, or that you're traveling or connecting with a new teacher. This is really about your beliefs and looking at your religious and philosophical value systems and aligning yourself more so with your integrity. Later on in the month, you're going to be setting intentions for, again, education. So if there's something that you want to learn about around May 16th, that's the time to set those goals in motion. If there's something that you want to shift or change or do within your community, if there is a new vehicle you want to purchase, because this is very tangible and simple because it is Taurus. It could be as simple as you want a new car. And so you're going to set intentions and you're going to accomplish that goal over the next month or over the next 6 months. It could really be as simple as that. Or you want to go somewhere, or you want to beautify your community in some way. You want to establish stronger roots or stronger foundations in your community, more solid and stable connections. All of those things can be possible with this new moon energy, but it's not going to be without its tests. Mars is coming into your 3rd house, bringing a very intense communication, an intense message. There's something going on behind the scenes, behind closed doors, that has been happening in secret. Either it's your secret that's going to come out and it's going to cause conflict, or somebody's been keeping secrets from you and that's going to come out and that's going to cause conflict. Whatever it is, it needs to be dealt with in order for you to move forward with your goals and plans. And at the end of the month, on the 31st, this is where you're really shifting gears and you are shining when it comes to your outward achievements, when it comes to accomplishing your career goals and plans. You might get recognition from a boss, a superior, authority figure. You might get a promotion of some kind. You might be launching a business. That would be great. You might be doing something that makes a big impact on the world, and it's actually being seen, it's actually taking off, you're actually being recognized for it. And so there are a lot of changes that you're going to be making, especially mid-month onward, involving your home, involving your property, involving what's going on behind the scenes outside of work. But then all of a sudden you're kind of like thrust into this like externalization where now you're focusing more on your achievements, now you're focusing more on the mark you make on the world, your satisfaction with your career. And it's probably whatever's going on here is going to be a period of recognition for you. So that's going to be really powerful and really beautiful. All right. So that is my forecast for all 12 signs. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to my channel, comment below and let me know how your month is going. And make sure you share this video with a friend if you feel like they could benefit from the information that I shared with you today. And I hope to see some of you in the free workshop that I'm hosting on Thursday, April 30th. And I especially hope to see some of you in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, where we'll be working together live in real time for 4 whole months and really for a couple of years after that as we continue on through all 6 levels to learn more advanced astrology, to learn predictions, to help you build your astrology business if that's what you want to do. Again, you can join the waitlist at the link down in the description below, or you can enroll if it is April 30th onward. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.